Good morning, all. Today we are going to discuss about the levy and collection of tax. As we all know here, that GST for the levy of GST, we have separate acts under which the taxability of or the levy of or the imposition of GST tax has been decided. As per the distribution of taxes, or you can say as per the acts that is applicable for GST, as we all know very well that it is the CGST Act 2017, the State Tax Act, that is SGST Act, and then it is the Union Territory Act, that is UTGST Act, and then the Integrated Tax Act, that is IGST tax. So any person who is taxable under GST are basically taxable under any of these four acts, which governs depending upon the interstate supply or the intrastate supply. So as we have discussed previously also, that when there is a interstate supply, then the IGST will be applied. When it is intrastate supplies, then CGST and SGST will be applied. And in case of union territory supplies, the UTGST Act will be applied. What are the conditions of application of these interstate and intrastate supplies for GSTs? That we have already discussed in detail in the previous sessions. So I'm not going into detail of it. Now, further, as we have discussed that there are certain things, certain exceptions to it, like there are certain exemptions given for these taxes. In the case of, you can say, alcohol for human consumption, that is a permanent exclusion given. A permanent exclusion here means that this will not be included under GST. So in that case, there will be certain state level tax that is applied, but it not comes under GST. Then there can be temporary exclusion, temporary exemptions. Temporary exemptions are, as we have discussed, it is petrol products, motor spirits, these high speed diesels, natural gas, etc. These all are the products that has not been like permanently excluded from GST, but yes, for the temporary basis they have been put out of the purview of GST, or you can say for now there is no GST levy on these products, but yes, government can anytime by any notification they can very well you can say include these products in their GST list and accordingly charge tax on it. So up till now, we know very well that the levy or the responsibility of GST, which tax to be applied, under which act it will be applied, that is decided upon the interstate supply or the intrastate supplies. Then moving ahead, GST, as you all know, that GST is applied on all the goods and services. So next stage of levy is that it is applied on both the goods and the services. So any sort of goods or any sort of services that has been supplied by the supplier should always attract GST. Then there are certain conditions related to it. Let's take up the import and exports, because normal goods are always, you can say, normal goods are always under the purview of GST. So any person who is supplying goods under normal situation, or the supplies are made for the taxable goods, then in that case GST is applied. Now, when we talk about the imports, then it is very clear, as we have discussed in the previous sessions also, that in the case of imports, the goods will be charged under GST, and it will be considered that it is a interstate supplies, and accordingly IGST will be applied on it. Then depending upon the place of supply, depending upon the time of supply, accordingly the GST on imports will be fixed up. Then when we talk about the exports here, so exports are also the thing which is exports are also the you can say supplies which is considered under GST, but under exports it is zero rated supplies. Zero rated supply here means that there will be no tax liability on the person who is supplying goods for the export purposes, but yes, there will be you can say applicability of GST. So we can say the exports are not beyond the GST purview. It is there well under GST, but yes, the rate charged under GST for exports is 0%. Then next is that comes under this GST purview is your reverse charge mechanism. Reverse charge mechanism means this is one another way on which the GST has been levied. And in this case, as we have discussed previously, reverse charge mechanism simply says that it is the tax which is levied on the purchaser, on the recipient, you can say, because otherwise what happens is that whatever supplies is being done, the tax liability falls on the supplier, though the incidence of that tax is, now you know very well what is incidence, so the incidence of tax under GST falls on the recipient only, but supplier is liable to pay off that GST. But when we talk about the reverse charge mechanism, so under that, it is the responsibility of the recipient to pay off the taxes on the behalf of the, you can say, supplier. The condition can be any: the supplier is unregistered, supplier is not taxable, supplier is not giving you the his threshold limit has not crossed, so he's not liable to get himself registered. There can be any condition under these points for the reverse charge mechanism. But if any person supply goods under reverse charge mechanism, then in that case, this recipient is liable to pay off the tax. Then moving ahead, there can be other points on which the GST can be levied. It can be e-commerce operator, as we have discussed in the previous session also, that e-commerce operator is the person who is liable to pay off the taxes, because it is the person who is supplying the goods, and also it is you can say it is the person who is also deducting tax at source. So any person under GST, it has been clearly mentioned that any person who is deducting tax at source, because see what happens here is that e-commerce operator does what it is simply providing you a platform, it is providing you a channel through which the manufacturer or the supplier is providing goods to the consumers. So this e-commerce operator is acting as a middleman. So when this is acting as a middleman, so it happens as per the GST, they are required to deduct tax at source also at times, which is 1% of the total supplies if the supply is going beyond 2,50,000. So these are the you can say these are the rules that that decide that how much GST will be levied, or how the e-commerce operator have to deduct tax at source and accordingly fill up the GST. Or you can say how to pay the GST under e-commerce operators. So when we talk about e-commerce operator, they are required to get themselves registered under GST, and they need to pay off the TDS that they have deducted on the supplies as per the GST rules and regulations. So this is one aspect where GST is levied on the e-commerce operators. Then it says about the exemptions. Exemptions here means that government has, as we have discussed, as per the council, GST council is being framed as per the government notifications, according to the recommendations given by the council. The government can anytime may exempt any of the product, maybe in a regular notification or maybe in a special order for the exemption in exceptional cases. Then in this any particular product which has been exempted by the notification maybe in a general nature or in a special order, the government has this power to exempt any product from the uh, GST list, to make it exempt. So that is the power which government can use anytime. Then I told you about the composition scheme also. There is a composition scheme under GST. And into this composition scheme, what happens is, if the supplier is not working on a very high scale of business, or the supplier do not want to get himself registered under GST, then in that case what happens is, they want to basically you can say they don't want to go into the hassle of putting forward GST again and again, and all the compliances that needs to be done on each and every supply. Then in that case, they take up the registration under the composition scheme. And what happens is, they need to put up the quarterly returns of the GST with the total supplies that they have put in. So they are not required to do the compliance of GST tax payment with each and every supplier, but they do it on the quarterly basis on the total supplies. But yes, they are also, because they are reducing down their hassle, so they are not also getting the benefit of ITC. They cannot claim the input tax credit for their supplies, and they fix up a you can say mm, there is a fixed rate of tax that will be applicable on total supplies. There will be no ITC available for such supplies. But yes, the benefit is this, that they don't need to pay GST or do the compliances for each and every supply. They can put it on the total amount of supply that has been done by the person. Then there is also you can say a provision for the advance payment here, as is written in the last point. Advance payment simply says that if any supplier having annual aggregate turnover of 1.5 crores, then in that case, if any supplier, they have received any advances on the part of any supply, though the supply has not been paid, but they have made the recipient has made the advance payment, then in that case the advance payment tax will not be paid until and unless the supply is made. So when you receive the payment, then in that case you are not required to pay the GST, but you will be required to pay GST when the supply will be made. But this is applicable only for the person who is having the advance payment and the annual turnover of it crosses 1.5 crore. Then I told you about the composition scheme. Then it is basically, when we talk about the GST regime, so there are two persons involved here. One is the supplier and other is the recipient. Recipient is liable to pay tax only in the case of you can say reverse charge mechanism. And when we talk about this thing, supplier, he is liable to pay taxes on all the supplies that has been made by him. So these all are the points on the basis of which the levy of GST has been decided. So this is it from my side. Thank you all.